Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello and welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast. I'm your host, Richie and JA. Joining me as always is JA. Mate, we've been off for a while, but how are you doing?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to apologize. I did enjoy the break. I don't know about you, Richie, but I have found the last month of the NFL that fucking boring. Like, other than a couple of days ago, which we're going to get to in our team previews, but seeing that we're ready to start our divisional previews and get through that, that's when I started getting exciting, because I know the way I set up the calendar is that we're 8 weeks away from the season starting. So that gets me pumped up. We can start doing our lead-ins and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, the last month has been dead. We've basically just been on Baker and Deshaun Watson watch. It's the only thing we're doing. Everything else has been pretty flat. Yeah,
it is the quieter time of the NFL calendar, that post draft OTAs that they do before camp starts. It's certainly the quietest period. It's when coaches get their holidays and all those sorts of things. It's sort of the last getaway that the NFL get before they get into the season proper.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, been exciting. I'll quickly thank our sponsors, and we're going to do the wheel spin for the Patreon members for Melbourne Gordon. As I said, we're about 11 days late. I apologize, guys. For next month, I'm actually working with someone at the moment on a bit of a sponsorship. So I should have a decision by next week. If not, I'll announce what helmet we're doing next week. But I've got a few rippers stockpiled. But hopefully we can get a sponsorship sorted and get someone involved. So Melbourne Gordon, I'll just get the share up. Let's get rid of our names so we can see it properly. If you're not watching this right now, so obviously we'll spin. First winner gets first choice. Second winner gets a box of beer from our good friends at Burnley Brewing. Coffee beers are back in stock. You are fucking kidding me. It's our good friend. The big man himself. Oh, actually, not so big man. Caught the same disease I caught. Skinny as fuck now. Well done, Deej. Proud of you, buddy. DJ gets first choice. Look, I know DJ. No, he doesn't love a beer. He loves alcohol, but he doesn't love a beer. He's more of a fine wine drinker. So I think he'll pick that helmet. Let's spin next and see who wins the beer. Paul Egan. And you know what? I am glad Paul just won, because I actually have a T-shirt for him as well, which I haven't delivered. Paul, I'm a sack of shit. It came back to me in the mail, and I've got to send it to you. So I'm now going to drop off a box of beer as well. So that sounds like a perfect way to get it out to you. I'll be in touch with both of you guys. Let's see if let's see what DJ selects. But let's be honest, I'm going to be shocked if old DJ doesn't select the signed helmet. I know he's a little bit of a collector, but I'll let you know, Paul. Thanks to everyone who does our Patreon. It does go a long way to helping us. Thanks to our good man, Dark Horse Electrics, our sponsor. They've finished up, as I said, a month ago now. He is now working with me at my company as a supervisor. Started this week, little legend. But what he did do is he got a Patreon podcast, Richie, for his fantasy football team again, league again. So I'm not sure if Lewis is going to be able to do it, because he's living in Budapest now, of all places to live. So I might have to get you to sub in on that one, Richie, and do it with me, and we'll just rag on 12 guys' crappy fantasy teams for a couple of hours. But yeah, thanks to Dylan for all your support, and Dark Horse Electrics, really appreciate it. And he's found up, and now I guess I'm going to help him become a good supervisor. Just don't listen to anything I tell you to do. Simple as that.
Just do the opposite. As it has been a long break, so we'll get into a little bit of news before we get into the previews. Tonight we'll be starting with the... Are we just going to start with jokes, or...
If people aren't on YouTube right now, which a lot of people are probably on the podcast, I've just put up our banner. And the first news before we get into our Nfc South preview is Zach Wilson bangs friend's mum. Richie, I know you haven't seen this story yet. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, bottom line, I'll do a short version of it. Zach Wilson's girlfriend and him broke up. Can't remember if I think she might have dumped him. I don't know. Who dumped Zach Wilson? He's beautiful and he's an NFL quarterback. So switch on. She then went and banged his best friend. Okay? So then little Zachy goes, his best friend's name's Dylan, of all people. Like, it's just such a best friend.
That's an
Zach
American
Wilson
name.
Went and banged his mum. That's revenge.
How does this even come out? Like, what's going on here?
It's 2022, Richie. Everything comes out. Everything comes out. Look, I just couldn't stop laughing when I saw it today. It was one of the funniest stories I've ever seen. So look it up. He is banging his mum. I hope this doesn't come out as just a fake story, but my God, I was crying with laughter reading it today. So absolutely huge.
Well,
and well done. Awesome.
I was going to say, I'm on that reliable source for news, the Daily Mail, and it's got Jets quarterback Zach Wilson's ex-girlfriend claims he slept with his mum's best friend, as she reveals, as she is now dating his ex-college roommate, Commanders wide receiver Dax Mill.
Yes,
this is so intertwined. I don't think I want to read any further.
Don't bother. Bottom line is Zach Wilson's a weapon. Don't ever steal his girlfriend. He will finish you off or finish your mum off. One of the two. I don't know. He'll do something.
Jesus. All right, let's move on to some real news. Moving to the NFC South previews, as we do every year. We start with our previews. We do normally start with the AFC North. As I'm sure everybody can probably imagine, there's one big issue which needs to be sorted before we can ever really talk about it. Otherwise, we're kind of wasting our time, because it does make an astronomical difference. So we're going to leave that. We're going to start in the NFC South. Mix it up a bit this year, because we tend to always end with the West. And we're going to mix it up this year and try and...
We're going to go South, West, East, North. I'm just going to do it real weird, real backwards.
Yeah, to really just break it up so we can... hit teams a little bit differently. But how do we want to take this, Jay? Do we want to do it alphabetically, or how do you want to go?
Let's start. I'll go through. So they finished up obviously last year. Tampa Bay won the division. New Orleans Saints were 9-8. Atlanta were 7-10, and Carolina were 5-12. Now I think we should start with the bottom, work our way up, and it's pretty important we start with Carolina. A lot of people are going to go, how have they not talked about the Baker Mayfield trade yet? We were saving it for now, and I guess you look at Carolina Panthers last season. They started really well. I think they were 5-1 maybe, and I was kind of on them. I thought they were good, and then Arnold.
They were the quirk of the schedule team.
Yeah, they fooled us for a little bit. So now they've made the move. Now they want to have. They don't only want to have the number 3 pick from that year's draft. They want to have the number 1 pick too, and they go and trade. I think it's a 5th for Baker Mayfield. The Cleveland Browns, conditional 5th. The Cleveland Browns are paying him $18 million or $15 million of his $18 million or something like that. And just as it works out, because the NFL is the gift that keeps on giving, the Carolina Panthers will play the Cleveland Browns week 1 at home, which means that the Cleveland Browns will be paying Baker Mayfield $500,000 to try and beat them week 1. I can see why people think this is scripted. I genuinely can understand it. First of all, let's start with your thoughts. Obviously, Cleveland Brown, they're banking on them. They're having Deshaun Watson. They were done with Baker. We all knew they were done with Baker. He was asked the other day about if there would be a reconciliation. He could go back, and he said, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're done there, which is fair enough. They've treated him like absolute dog shit. We've made our opinion very clear on the Cleveland Browns, what they've done. They've sold their soul for the devil. And I think it's going to backfire on them. I really think Deshaun Watson's going to miss this season at the minimum. And I think that it's going to backfire. They're going to have Jacoby Brissett, and their season's going to go up in flames. Now, Baker, I think it's a very, very fair price for him. I have said before, I think Baker could be one of the biggest steals in the history of the NFL. I think we could be sitting here in 10 years' time, and I don't think like the Panthers are a Super Bowl team now because they've got Baker, but they now have a competent quarterback. He's tough. He plays hard. He's got a bit of attitude. Now, whether that's good or bad, it can go both ways. But he's got that swagger, that shoot about him. He's a winner. He wants to win, and he's going to work hard to win. I think that's important. But he's a bit of a dog. He's a bit of a dog in him. You know, I like that about him. He goes to a team that has an improved offensive line. They have a reasonably good receiver core with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and they've got Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey's healthy. I think this could be a good offense with Baker Mayfield. It's not a bad situation for him. And they've given up a conditional 5th-round pick for it. I think the Carolina Panthers, they stuffed up getting Darnold. They know that. They then stuffed up drafting Matt Corral in the 3rd round, trading up to get Matt Corral in the 3rd round. I think they've seen this opportunity and just thought, you know what, we've just got to get Baker. We've got to get him in the room and see what we can do. And I'm all for it. I think it's a great move by him.
Look, it's going to be it'll be really interesting to see how it goes. This is a very different offense to the one he ran in his time up at Cleveland. So it's not as play action heavy. They don't use as many tight ends. It's quite a different system. So it'll be really interesting to see how Baker goes, because if you look back to his time at college, at Oklahoma with Riley, and to what he had the most success doing with the Browns was a really heavy play action, get him out on the perimeter. He is an accurate passer, especially on the move. And this offense isn't that. So it'll be really interesting. Are they going to try and tailor it more to him? Or are they going to say, no, we need you to kind of do what we do? So, look, it'll be really interesting.
It could be worse than Darnold and PJ Walker and Cam Newton last year, though. Like he's
don't get
definitely
me wrong.
Definite upgrade. This is people are saying bring back Cam. Like what is 2011? Who the fuck wants Cam Newton?
Like, yeah, look, there's definitely no arguments here. It'll definitely be an upgrade. But the main thing I'm sort of trying to put out there is, what are they going to ask him to do?
Yeah.
Because you can have success with him, but you've got to get him doing what he's very comfortable and successful at doing. Look, for the Panthers, their defense was a surprise last year. It was actually really quite good through the entire year, even when the offense started to really fall apart. The defense never really did. It's a good front four too.
Ioannidis is good. Brian Boone's one of the most underrated players in the NFL too. And
100%.
I'll show you plenty of tape that shows you that he is. They get JC Horn back, who only played 3 games last year and looked really good. Like he didn't look like a bad player at all. Jeremy Chin's a really good safety. I like a lot about him. Dante Jackson's good.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. That probably their biggest strength was their defensive line and defense, I guess, in general. And their biggest weakness was quarterback. They've addressed it. So it's going to be really, really interesting how they come out. I think the South's a bit of a dog's breakfast this year, except sort of for hopefully my Bucks, and we'll get to them soon. But they've put themselves in a position where they can battle for that last wild card spot.
I agree. That's what I 100% think that's where they can get. Like, I'll play you a scenario. McCaffrey plays 17 games, healthy for the whole year. Last time he did that, people were like, this guy's the MVP. There were arguments for him being an MVP. Yep. So if he does it, the O-line's improved. Ekwonu, I can't say his name very well. Top 10 pick, first tackle taken off the board. Moton's a good player. They bring Corbett over from the Rams. Is he amazing? No, but he's definitely an upgrade. Christensen and Alfine come in. They've tried to improve that offensive line with basically ex-Minnesota Vikings, but they're trying. You've got Tremble, who's a second-year player. Name me a more iconic duo than Notre Dame and a tall white tight end. They just produce them.
I guess what we could do.
Tremble's black too. He definitely is. I stuff that up, but I see Notre Dame and I'm like, he's a tall white tight end.
Well, especially all their national titles were back in the 40s when the radio sounded like this and he'd go down the sideline. I think high watermark for them is a wild card.
I agree.
For me,
if Baker what he is 2 years ago, he carried a Cleveland Browns team that wasn't that great.
That's the thing. So we've thrown a lot of ifs to get them to a wild card positions. I'll throw the other if. McCaffrey's still injured and Baker's no good. They could finish with 4 wins.
Yeah.
The
other thing is, this puts a bit of pressure back on Darnold too. Like, Darnold's now the backup there and everyone knows it. So now we're going to really see what he's got in him. If Darnold wants to be a
high-paid backup.
Yeah, if Darnold wants to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, this is his time now. If he fails this year, he'll be like Josh Rosen. He'll never be on a team again. He'll just fall out of the NFL. I guarantee it. So let's see how it goes. I like Carolina. I like Carolina in parts. I do like some of their players. This is one of those teams that, the 7 seed, it's spot on. I think that's kind of their ceiling. 7 seed, maybe 6 seed. Probably get beaten in the first round of the playoffs, or maybe have a bit of an upset, like the Eagles were last year and the Bears were the year before. That sort of thing. I think they could do that. I think their ceiling's probably 10 wins. Remember, it's a 17-week season, so 9 or 10 wins maybe get you into the playoffs. I think that's probably about where they are. Should we move over to the Atlanta Falcons, who finished second last in the division last year, which I was shocked by. Like, the Panthers literally lost every game after the first 5 games. They only won 5 games.
They completely and utterly fell apart.
I'm trying to see their schedules from last year. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is the Falcons won 7 games last year, and I'm shook by it. I'm absolutely fucking shook by it.
Look, they've undergone the biggest upheaval in the division. Obviously trading out Matt Ryan after going around sort of one more time last year with him and realizing that we're just nowhere near it. Ridley's done for the year because he liked to have a bet, just moronic. The biggest thing going for them is they have a genuine unicorn at tight end. Guys like this just don't come around very often.
Big year for Kyle Pitts. Get him in fantasy. Huge year.
He will be used every which way. He was only the second ever tight end to eclipse 1,000 receiving yards. And I know he doesn't get them all from tight end, but no tight end does. They are the ultimate matchup. So they line up everywhere. Yay, that's great. I've seen places where they say, their biggest weakness is pass rush and a few things like that. No, their biggest weakness is Marcus Mariota is going to be the week 1 starting quarterback.
Why are people trying to sell me on Marcus Mariota? Thank you. Like,
Could
why
not agree more. Let that sink in.
I've seen him fucking fail in 2 places now. He was a number 2 pick. Like, he's shit house. Like, people are more. I'm not going to say the person, the podcast today said that they would prefer to roll him with Mariota than Baker. I was like, what have you been watching for 2 seasons?
What planet are they on?
I couldn't believe it. And it's some well-liked podcast. I was just shocked. I was shocked by it. Yeah, I'm with you though, Rich. Mariota is dog shit, and I will not hear anything different. Yeah, he might get you some fantasy points because he runs with it here and there. He will get hurt. He won't play the whole season. That's the other thing. So he's no good. And then just their pass rush is awful. They are the 3 biggest red flags in an NFL team going into a preseason. I'm going to write a book about this one day. Your 3 biggest red flags. Quarterback, no pass rush, bad O-line. Name me 3 things that affect a team more. And they are the trifecta. They might be the worst starting quarterback, offensive line, and pass rush in the league. Those 3 things don't add up. I don't care what Kyle Pitts does. It will not help you. This team's bottom of the division, and I don't care what anyone says. They're a top 5 pick next year. Hands down.
I was having a look at the over-under odds for games 1 this year. For Atlanta Falcons are the second worst at 5 wins. So if that's sort of their odds, their high watermark is 7 wins at absolute best. And like, you know me, I love nothing more than Atlanta being crap. But they're in for a long, long season because over understating quarterbacks for the Atlanta Falcons, I say 3. Could well be 4.
Who else is on their roster? I haven't looked at.
Doesn't matter. They're gonna have to sign somebody mid-year. Like they're gonna have to go out and get a journeyman.
Oh, they got Desmond Ryder. They drafted Desmond Ryder, and they've got Felipe Franks. So I reckon Felipe Franks played in the XFL for a bit.
Mate, they have, as you said, there is no way on earth Mariota plays 17 games. None whatsoever. And I'm telling you, you will see at least 4 quarterbacks under center for them this year. Like
strap your lid, Desmond Ryder.
They are going to be bad.
I guess I'll try and find some positives on him. Drake London.
Pitts, that's it. That's why I started with him.
Yeah, look,
he's a proper unicorn.
He is,
and he's going to be riding.
And fans watch him and enjoy him.
He will glow so brightly because he's surrounded by nothing but turds.
Oh, I also like AJ Terrell, actually, their corner. First round pick from last year.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player too. Really good cover corner. So hopefully he's good. There's some future. There's some future there. But yeah, just if you're an Atlanta fan, just call yourself a Kyle Pitts fan this season and say you're watching the games for Kyle Pitts. Because I will. I'll be watching Kyle. I cannot wait to watch. How good was my draft of him last year in the 4th round of our Dynasty League? And everyone was like, why are you taking a tight end? Outstanding.
I still think you're going to regret that in 2 years.
Never. I never regret anything.
You know what I mean?
No regrets is tattooed on my arm. No regrets with an A. Should we move on to your second favorite team in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints? The New Orleans Saints, not the New Orleans
not my
Saints.
Second favorite team.
You love them.
I like the city. I have a soft spot for them. My second favorite team is the Chargers because I like to get disappointed every year.
Yes, The Chargers are like when my wife has sex, disappointed, always.
Yeah, but looks good. But looks good doing it.
Good. I don't mind that from you, Richie.
It's funny sometimes.
Can I tell you
all right.
something about the Saints? Do you want me to give you a hot take?
Okay.
I think they're good.
Oh, you're dreaming. They're not.
Hear me out here. Okay.
Go.
Defensively, they were a top 5 defense last year.
Their secondary is great.
I think they've got better. I think Marcus May is a great addition from the Jets. I think he's an upgrade or a on par signing of Williams, who left to the Ravens. They signed Tyrann Mathieu. We all know when Tyrann Mathieu is interested and invested, he's good. Yes, he's getting older, but he was good last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was good still. He was still a very good player for them. Still a Pro Bowl. I think.
No. You can't say good then say very good. He was
very
good.
He was very
he wasn't.
good.
He was not.
He was above good slightly.
No, he was just good, which is not an insult. It's not an insult, but he was just good.
So I think their defense is going to be around about again. I think they'll be solid. He said defense is very up and down, but I can see them comfortably being a top 15 defense, top half of the league sort of team. Get some takeaways, get some sacks. Their offensive line, they lose Armstead, hurts them. He also didn't play a lot last year. He didn't play a lot last year, Eric Armstead. So, sorry, not Armstead. Eric Armstead's the defensive tackle. Anyway, the guy who plays left tackle for them, who I'm pretty sure is Armstead, he's gone. They bring Penning in the first round. They still have Andres Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, and Ramczyk. Ramczyk's been the best right tackle in the league for 2 or 3 years now. They've got Kamara. Troutman's a good tight end, not a dominant tight end. Michael Thomas, from all reports, is going to play this year. From all reports, is going to play. And if he's back, say he's 75, Teron Armstead, not Eric. That's the only thing I got wrong. Say he's 75% of what he was 2 years ago. 75% of what he was 2 years ago is 100 catch receiver and 5 touchdowns at 1,000 yards because he had 150 catches. So he's still very good. He's a great slant runner. They bring in Landry to play in the slot. I like that in that offense. And they bring in Chris Olave in the first round, who's a burner that can go from what I've heard. I don't watch a lot of college football. The only issue I see with this team, and I know you're going to have it as well, is Jameis Winston. But the other big issue, they don't have Sean Payton anymore to make Jameis Winston look good. People are forgetting Sean Payton's not their coach anymore.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He will be at the Cowboys before he coaches anywhere else ever again. I guarantee he'll be the next coach of the Cowboys. I'd almost put money on it if I could. Can you bet on that? I'm
sure somebody will let you.
Yeah.
The other thing you've kind of glossed.
That's my thoughts.
The other thing you've glossed over, I think, is their guard play is really weak. Is it Ruiz, the guard they drafted 2 years ago? He's been ordinary for 2 seasons, and he hasn't been okay. The biggest problem,
he's ranked 56 out of 82 guards, so he's below average in league averages.
And then I think the other side's been a rotating door. There's Andreas Pete.
Andreas Pete is there sometimes, but he was hurt a lot last year.
Yeah, and there was another guy who's got a massively long name. It's like Thorn Crusher or something. I can't even remember what it is.
If there's a guy named Thorn Crusher on this team,
it's not that, but it's something like that. It's
Throckmorton. They have a guy named
Throckmorton.
Throckmorton.
That's it. That's the guy I was thinking of. So
I like that.
Look, they're weak in the middle as fast away the quarterback for a quarterback who is highly inaccurate, and he does not have the safety blanket, as you just mentioned, of one of the best offensive play callers in the past 15 years. That is going to make an astronomical difference to people overlooking. The thing about the Saints is it could go either way for them. They could win or lose 7 or 8 games by less than 3 points. And it's just what way those two go to how they finish up. Winston is going to throw heartbreaking interceptions, Saints fans, like proper heartbreaking ones.
Sound like someone who's lived through it before, Richie.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the movie. It's not enjoyable, and it has a terrible finish. I'm not trying to poo-poo on the Saints parade. As I said, I've just seen this movie, and I know how it ends. And now he has arguably a worse coach than his time at Tampa, who he rotated through a few. So, I don't know. They're one of the biggest I don't know in the league.
Or them, who are you taking?
Oh, them. They're better than the Panthers. because their defense is better front to back. And they got better skill players.
Who's their coach? I can't remember. Is it Linehan? No, it's not Linehan.
Who's? Saints or the...
It's the old coach at the Raiders, I'm certain. Dennis Allen, who did coach at the Raiders. Yep. He was the head coach from 12 to 14. Yeah, look, he did a good job of being their defensive coordinator last year. It's a different kettle of fish being there. I don't personally, and I think this is a one playoff team division.
Well, what's their high watermark then?
Same as the Panthers.
I don't. I think that I had to give them more credit than that. As much as I want to poo-poo on your parade, their high watermark is the division, but gee whiz, it's going to be hard.
Oh, you reckon they can win the division? You reckon if everything goes right, they can win the division?
Let's say Brady. What happens if Brady blows his knee at week 1?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like they need some things to go right.
They also have Andy Dalton, who
I'd start in, quite frankly.
I would genuinely like if your defense is good, which I think their defense is going to be good. Andy Dalton's your better guy, man. Just
because he's not going to hurt you.
Feed the ball to Kamara. Like that's the thing. If Alvin Kamara, again, very similar to the Panthers, almost those two teams are riding on the back of their running backs. If Alvin Kamara has that huge 17 game, plays every game, dominant again, they're going to be good. They're going to win football games.
And the other big one is if Thomas does play, you got Thomas who can take a slant to the house, good old slant boy, and by bringing in Landry, he'll have 100 catches for 42 yards. Like, that's how he rolls, is underneath getting first downs. Again, safe passes. So you got two guys who are good, short, and can get you some yak. And then you got Kamara. And
then Olave, who's a first-round pick. Like what if he's like Jefferson? What if he's the next Justin? Every league wide receiver just blow up, don't they? Like, what if he's the next CD Lamb or Jefferson or who was it last year? The rookie, Jamar.
If all that happens, jeez, we're tempted to start Andy Dalton because he's not going to fuck it up.
Just feed your ball to your talent and let him go. It'll be interesting. Winston needs to just not turn the ball over. Keep in mind though, when Winston got hurt last year, he was playing okay. He wasn't terrible. He was playing all right. So let's give him a chance. I know you've had that ride before. I haven't. I don't know why, but I kind of like Winston, and I can't explain it why. I really shouldn't. He's kind of.
I can't now. He's just with all the same talent. The good quarterback got it done. Sorry, I should take that back. The greatest quarterback who ever lived got it done. I shouldn't be too flippant.
Well, look, Tony Romo wasn't playing for Tampa Bay, so I'm not sure who you were talking about.
Tony Romo couldn't even hold an extra point.
Hey, whoa. Hold on a second.
Where are you going?
Say sorry to Tony right now. You say sorry to Tony.
If you just held that extra point, I could have gone to that playoff game, and instead you dropped it, and the game was played somewhere else, and I couldn't go. Thanks, mate.
I know, Richie. I'm a fucking loser. That's my Tony. You have to find that on video, okay? That's my Tony figurine. Anyway, let's get to the cream of the crop in this division. Probably the cream of the crop in the NFC still. Your boys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost a guard. They go and get Shaq Mason. They lost a quarterback. They get him to come back 2 weeks later by firing the coach. They lost a D tackle. They bring in. They lost Ndamukong Suh. They bring in Akeem Hicks, who's Ndamukong Suh 5 years ago. They lose Jason Pierre-Paul. They've got a first-round pick from last year in Tyrone Shoyinka, who was very good last year for them in limited time. So every time there's something wrong, they just replace it. So I think this team, without injuries, without anything going horribly wrong, this team's winning the division, and I just won't be convinced any other way. Godwin will be back probably mid-season. They've got Cam Brate still. They've got Evans. They still have... Cam Brate retired, didn't he? I'm certain Cameron Brate retired, didn't he?
Did he? OJ Howard left.
Where's he now?
Hang on.
Oh, no, I'm an idiot. Rob Gronkowski retired. So
I was going to say, I don't see why Brate would retire.
I thought OJ Howard was still there.
No,
by the way,
Buffalo Bills.
That's something. Cameron Brate's solid as a rock. We love a bit of Brate action. He's been there for a while. And then I think their offensive line's going to be good. I think Tristan Wirf's going to be good. I think Mason's going to be rejuvenated back with Shaq Mason be rejuvenated back there. They've got a second-round pick starting at guard right now. Don't rule off Ali Marpet coming out of retirement. Don't rule that out. Now that Tom Brady's back, he gets in his ear and goes, "Come on, Ali, one more year, win another Super Bowl. Come on." I think that they bring over Justin Gage to replace who was a slot receiver you guys had last season that moved on. Oh, Psycho Brown, AJ Brown. They bring over Russell Gage, who was very good for Atlanta last year. Actually, very good's not fair. If Tyrann Mathieu was good, he was just below good last year for the Atlanta Falcons. But
he's fine, but he's not going to be asked to do a ton.
No. So look, Evans. We all know my feeling on Evans. I think Evans is a top 10 receiver. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. I cannot believe some people don't like him. Just shocks me all the time. He's so big. He's so strong. Runs great routes. Never drops anything. He's tough as nails. Have you noticed he never fucking complains? You never hear him when he has a 3-catch, 1 touchdown game going, "Oh, I never get the ball." He'll have a stint where he gets 4 games in a row catching 5 balls and then goes off for 13 catches and 3 touchdowns. But he never whinges. Just never complains. Just does the team thing. Blocks hard. Does everything right. I also reckon Lenny Fournette's up for a big year too. I think we're going to run the ball more. I'm on him. I'm all over him.
Well, they've got one of the highest over/under win totals. It's 11.5. So it's a big ask.
11.5. 17 games. 17 games.
Look, it's still high. It's still high. There won't be many teams with that many. I've always look at strength of schedule as well. I know it's always hard. Defenses change so much. I prefer strength of schedule was just calculated on like quarterback and head coach and where the game's being played. I think they're probably more important than all the other factors they take into account. But it is one of the harder schedules in the NFL looking at a preseason point of view. I tend to like the run home once you get halfway through. What's your strength of schedule for the rest of the season? I think
that's what I'm
important stat. Or even 6 games in.
Look at their schedule, though. They've got Cowboys week 1. That's a playoff team from last year who I think Cowboys got significantly worse in the offseason. Then they've got Saints, which I think they win. Then they've got Packers, who are a playoff team from last year, tough one. Then the Chiefs, tough one. But then they've got Falcons, Pittsburgh, Carolina, then Baltimore and LA. Then they get Seattle, Cleveland. If Deshaun Watson's not playing, Cleveland will be an easy beat this season. Saints again, 49ers, Bengals. Is every team just good now? Because every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a tough game.
Look, they're not. The key thing is how tough are your 6 division games? Because the rest, you kind of go 50-50. Like the whole league does. There'll be a handful of teams that could do better than that and a handful that do worse. But
I think they're a 5-1 division team, personally.
Well,
I think they probably drop one to an Atlanta or a Saints. It's like
here's the thing. If you can go, you go 5-1 in the division, you only got to find 5 other wins and you're a playoff team.
Yep, agreed.
And you play half at home. Well, I think Tampa's got a game in Germany or something.
Really?
Yeah, I think we have to play in Germany.
We fly to Germany.
International game. What about it? Pretty solid. I actually think it's already sold out.
It would be.
They go to Munich.
That's so cool.
Who do we play? It's got to be out there somewhere. But either way, so those things you never love. We always talk about it's a tough road trip to go East Coast to West Coast or vice versa. It's tougher to go to Germany or London. So that's not great. They don't have too many short week games or play teams off longer breaks, things like that. It's not like the Thanksgiving teams. They almost always certainly have 2 Thursday night games each year, which makes it harder, those shorter rests. And, Cowboys often get boned too. They have to come off like a Sunday night game and then go into that Thursday game. It happens all the time. There's not too much of that this year. So, look, they're led by the greatest player who's ever pulled on a helmet. If he's healthy, they should win the division.
I agree. Let's do our division picks. You go first. Start from top to bottom.
Tampa should be top. Saints should be second. Panthers should be third. And poor old Atlanta, they're going to have a long year. They will be last by a long way. They'll be battling for a top 3-4 draft pick.
I'm exactly the same. Tampa, Saints, Panthers, Falcons. Saints and Panthers they could easily change. I think Tampa Bay will win the division and make the playoffs. I think Carolina, only one of Carolina and Saints will get in if they go well. Saints probably, I don't know. I'm just so to and fro on those two teams. I think the Saints have got probably more talent all over, but I don't know. I'm really rooting for Baker Mayfield. I cannot tell you how much I'm rooting for him. I just want him. I want him to just become a fucking Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like, I just want him to win like 3 MVPs and just because I think, and we've talked about this. I think what the Browns did is a fucking disgrace. I genuinely think in a world where now and everyone, especially in the NFL, is inclusiveness and do the right thing and don't sweep things under rugs. Unless you're a top 5 quarterback, then do whatever the fuck you want and we'll pay you $250 million guaranteed. Like, it's bad. Like, we've known now he has 24 cases. 20 of them have settled. There's still 4 cases out there, which means that basically you can't tell me the Browns aren't helping him make those settlements and get those things sorted. I hope Roger Goodell goes absolutely fucking hard at him. I hope he gives him a season. I even don't think that a season and a half or 2 seasons is unfair. I think he needs to pay for what he's done. I think the world of these guys just paying people out and getting away with it needs to stop. And again, the women that settled, I don't know them. I don't know what happened. I don't know the stories. I don't know what they've been done, if they've been given money. I don't know. But what I know is that if you had all the information that you said you did, then I'm disappointed in that too, that you've settled. You should be fighting this because...
Yes and no. So if a grand jury has been convened and they say they can't bring criminal charges... What's the difference between settling and taking it to the end? A judge may give you less, or a jury may give you less. So if I could keep my name out of the papers and get a settlement when the police have already said, we don't think we can get a conviction here, we can't convince 12 of Deshaun's peers to convict him. So they said, we're not going to progress with this. Then at that point, get all the money you can. Like, I have no issue with them settling whatsoever. 90-something% of civil cases get settled. They never end up in court because it's too bloody expensive. These women have to go to court. They have to give evidence. Then they've got to totally relive what happened to them again. Plus, as I said, you might lose. And then you get nothing except a dirty, great, big lawyer's bill, which you can't pay.
So take the probably $5 million or probably $1 million he's giving him and walk away. He's got plenty of money, doesn't he, with his 230 guaranteed?
But whatever it is, I certainly have no issues with them settling because there's so many here. Like if he genuinely didn't do it, he wouldn't be settling.
No,
no way.
It's one of the biggest guilty. Do you remember a few years ago when Reuben Foster got done for domestic violence and we tore shreds off him on the podcast and it came out like a week later that it was all a lie, the girl was lying? I'm like, oh no.
That is now, like, it always used to be, the woman's just chasing a payday and blah blah blah, and frankly, no, they're not. And I don't know if I've ever said that over the years, but I really hope I didn't. But it's it's just the way we looked at it in the past, which is just an embarrassment. And the way I look at it now is chances are you did it because men are assholes. Like, we're the worst.
It's amazing having a couple of daughters. Having a couple of daughters, and you've got a daughter as well. It's amazing your perspective changes pretty fucking quickly, just quietly.
No,
just quietly.
And you know what? It shouldn't come to that. Like,
no, it shouldn't.
We should have realized way before.
As I'm saying, it's 2022 now. Do you know how you change the perspective and change where people go with that stuff? You suspend Deshaun Watson for fucking 2 seasons. Say it's not on. We don't care if you're a good quarterback. We don't care how much money the Browns are paying you. You're done for 2 seasons. We'll see you when you're 28.
Well, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah, and exactly. You're not getting paid, and come back and don't be a piece of shit. Spend the next 2 years working on yourself because that's bullshit. A lot of people. Michael Vick did some terrible fucking things that a lot of people haven't forgiven him for. He
went to jail.
Went to jail. He came back and he played again. But he did his time and he was punished for it drastically punished for it fairly. They need to do the same thing now here. The NFL have a chance to really flex on this situation and really say, we're not about this. If they come back and go, you got 5 games.
No.
fuck off. Like,
What a
honestly,
disappointment.
it'll just, and my biggest fear is that's what's going to happen.
The worst thing is
history tells us this.
The absolute worst part is the Browns knew it were coming because the season he gets paid the absolute least for in that entire contract is this one.
Yeah.
They deliberately backloaded all the money because they expect him to get rubbed out. Like they did him a favor.
Just quietly, your wife, obviously, Richie, she's a police officer, so she sees a lot of crappy stuff and a Browns fan. How does she feel about that, just quietly? Because I imagine they wouldn't sit right with her.
She's pretty torn because she's, like me, a big fan of the front office and Stefanski's the coach and the GM, Eric Berry.
Yep.
You just lose all respect for him. But then you're also torn that the last time we saw him play, and we're at least you've not seen him play in person. We've been to a Houston game.
And he's very good.
And he is very, very good. So you're just so torn because your team's your team. Like tons of dirty stuff's happened at Tampa and other teams that I go for and all the rest of it. And you like you know, I love cycling, and it's rife with drug cheats. And I still like it because I like the sport. I like football. I don't want this stuff around it.
What? Drug cheats is drug cheats. Like that's a different thing. It's a different thing.
True, but it's still, it still puts doubt and things on the thing that you love. So it's really hard to say, can I get enjoyment out of this? And I don't know, would a 2 years see the suspension and then I think she's most disappointed. They already had the team. Yeah. They were already good. They were already good. They didn't need this. They did. I don't think
we went into it about Baker either. They fucked Baker. They played him hurt. They lowered his value by, and we've heard Baker's a bit of a character, but the year before he took him to a playoff game. They won a playoff game. They almost knock off the Chiefs, who then go and win the Super Bowl. They almost knock him off. They come back. He is hurt. Everyone knows he's hurt. He could have been selfish and just said, "Nah, put me on IR.
Put me on IR.
I'm going to get surgery. I'm going to protect myself from my contract." He plays his guts out. Did he play well? No. But you look at his PFF ratings, he's kind of 15 to 10 for his first 3 seasons, and then he's like 32. That doesn't just happen. You don't just, if he is just crap now, whatever. But that's a very rare thing to be this and then drop. Something has to change there. And we know he's had surgery. We know he's injured, the team, himself. And I've never heard him once complain. Even in this whole process, he's never come out and said, "Fuck Cleveland, they're pieces of shit. They've treated me like crap." He's just said, all he's ever said is, "Look, a time here with Cleveland's over. That's the bottom line. They don't want me around. I'll go somewhere else." So as I said, I hope Baker becomes a top 10 quarterback. I hope the Cleveland Browns, I hope we're sitting here in 15 years' time with the 30 for 30 going, talking about how the Cleveland Browns traded him away and they've never been good ever since. Yep. I hope we are, because this time it is their fault. It is 100% their fault, and they'll have no one to blame. Not bad drafting, blah, blah. Your fault. You had Baker, and I think he's a steal. I've said this since the minute he went on the market. Someone was going to get a steal. It was Carolina. At the end of the day, they're paying Baker and Sam Darnold this season $22 million. It's very acceptable. Now, is Darnold too much? If they could have their time again, yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't give him the fucking 5th-year extension. I'm sure they wouldn't. But the bottom line is they've got Baker and Darnold for less than what a starting quarterback could get you now. Like in a world where top quarterbacks are earning $50 million, they're getting a guy for 50% of that. 2 guys that can probably both play for him, but I think Baker's going to be the guy. And I think he'll beat Cleveland week 1. Put any money you want on it. He will beat Cleveland. So. He will butter them up, and he will celebrate every bit of it. Can't wait. As always, Richie, it is exciting though. The NFL delivers. Do you think when they made that schedule, they were like, "Yeah, he might be at Carolina. Let's just put him there and see what happens"?
I think the NFL get lucky more often than people realize. They get lucky all the time.
They play the Seahawks this year.
Don't know.
They do. They play them. Oh no, no, they don't play this season. Because I was going to say, I wonder if they went, all right, let's put the Panthers and the Seahawks early, so we see if he goes to one of those teams. But anyway, it'd be very interesting. Quickly, our sponsors. obviously ussportsgear.com.au. Richie, US Sports Gear getting orders now for the football season. Football season Victoria is in about 12 weeks, I'm being told by GV. So that means anywhere up to 25 weeks away. And also all across the country will be starting up. So if you need gear, get to ussportsgear.com.au, buy some gear, hit up our man Richie if you want anything. And Burnley Brewing, I am picking up some beers this week, Richie. They have coffee beers back. So I will make sure to bring some around to you. Thank you. Thanks for your patience over the last month. Congratulations to DJ and Paul for winning the Patreon. Thank you to all our patrons for the month. Thank you to Dylan and Dark Horse Electrics for their sponsorship, and best of luck in your new endeavors. And Richie will be back next Monday. We will do the AFC South, which is actually a very good division. Colts, Texans. Do we just do the South? Yeah, Colts, Texans, Jaguars, and Titans. A little bit of an early spoiler alert. Titans are going to drop off. Mark my word.
Not much arguments here.
Yeah. Richie, thank you as always. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and you will speak to us next week. Thank you.